Good morning and happy Tuesday. Welcome back to the Daily Grind. I'm your host, Chump Change. This is live and recorded. For those of you that might be new here, what we typically do is go over crypto news or news in general in the space. I update myself, bring you guys along for the ride. Let's see who's in the house, then we'll get into this. Mr. Andrew Masad, good to see you, buddy. Mr. Rude Puts, you as well. I think I always say that wrong. Is it supposed to be Putz? I apologize, Mr. Rudd Putz, if that's how you're supposed to say it. Please let me know in the chat. DDA, good to see you, buddy. Daddy Chill, good morning, sir. We have 10 minutes to midnight. Mike the Miner, Mr. Olo, good to see you, buddy. Royce's Adventures, we have Black Hat Team, Moria Devil, good to see you. 20-0, Kyle Rosa, JF, Nick K, let's see, Triple Nickel, all you guys are here this morning. Good to see you. Deborah, good morning. Adam, good morning. Everybody else I may have missed, I apologize. Let's get into it. Bitcoin, $71,255. Perfect. Insane climb. We have Ethereum at 2630, underperforming compared to Bitcoin, but nonetheless still up 4%. We got Solana, $181 or $180 now. We have XRP at 52 cents. Let's see, Dogecoin has been killing it at 16.6. only because I swapped some Doge into Caspa. That's why I continue to climb, just so you guys know. That happened the other day. It was up and Caspa was down. I was like, you know, a perfect opportunity. I got into Caspa a little bit more at 10 cents, but Caspa's been taking again a real shit. It's been holding itself down about 2% today to 11 cents, 11.7 to be exact, almost 12 cents. Sui is up 14, almost say 14.5%, $1.94. Near Protocol is up $4, up to $4.47, up 5% today. Aptos over here is up 7.2% today, 7.3 just about, $9.66. Pretty crazy. Is this optimism? Maybe $1.69, 5% on the day. Nice. Uniswap's up as well, 5%. Man, everything is freaking screaming today. This is crazy. Is this a buy the news, or sorry, buy the rumor, sell the news event when the election actually happens? We're going to see a dump off. I wonder. BitTensor over here up 6.81% to $545. BNB's at $607. Man, killing it today. Absolutely killing it. Jump over to Crypto Bubbles. Let's see, what's the biggest earner of the day? I thought it was Dogecoin for a second, but it's not. It's Sui and Hex. Looks like they're tied. 15.1% on the day. Hex is up to a penny, 1.2 to be exact, and Sui is up to $1.95. Biggest earners of the day in the top 100 coins. Nice. The biggest loser is Ray. Looks like 5.9%. This is Radium. If anybody doesn't know, this is $3.18. Again, Caspa is down 1.9%. and DOT is down 1.7%, but everything else is freaking screaming. Actually, OM over here, Mantra is down as well to 1.5%, to $1.36. All right, Flashbang here in Greed Index looks like it's at a 72, same exact as yesterday. That's good. I thought it was going to be for sure over 75 this morning, but that'll probably be like a tomorrow thing. I think this will be up around 75% tomorrow, maybe a little bit higher. But once it gets over 75, that's when I really start getting worried about it, because we usually see some sort of pullback relatively close to after that point, you know what I mean? Yeah, I don't know, between 75 and 25, that's where I like to see this needle. I don't like to get too greedy, because then it turns into a shitstorm. Just my opinion. All right, over on CoinGecko, let's go through the top 10 coins by coin market cap. Oh man, Bitcoin, a $1.4 trillion market cap. Damn. Perfect. 1.3 yesterday. We broke to 1.4 this morning. Crazy. All right, top 10 coins: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, BNB, Solana, USDC, XRP, Lotto Staked Ether, Dogecoin, and Tron over here in 10th place at a $14.2 billion market cap. Let's see, Cardano still in 12th place at a $12.3 billion market cap, so it's trailing behind by about 2 billion. Let's see, Litecoin still in 23rd place at a $5.4 billion market cap. Nice. Litecoin's been again lifting off pretty good, which is nice. Hopefully you guys have a bag of Litecoin. Caspa, let's see, is at it's under a $3 billion market cap. Bruh. Terrible. What's going on, Caspa? It's all right, I think it'll be fine. Ethereum Classic, $2.8 billion market cap, just behind Caspa. Interesting. Nothing else really jumping out at me. Render, I wonder what Render's gonna do. Render's been doing real shitty. I hope it comes back. $5. $1.9 billion market cap. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. All right, let's jump on to the mining segment of things. I want to get into some news stuff. I started a bit late today. All right, looking over here, the L9 seems to be the top of the list over here. 17 gigahashes, making $23.93 a day. Let me just double check. Yep, 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So after you pay your 10-cent electric rate, this is your profit. The AL1 Pro over here, 16.6 terahash unit, making $23.76 a day. That's pretty bad, but I mean it's good, but it's not because of the price of the unit. Let's see what lithium's looking like this morning. This is not a top 100 coin. Oh, wow, it's up 10%. Nice. 11.4% actually. It says it's ranked 415th by market cap, but we're at $1.25. $1.25. Could be worse. Could be worse. I wonder what made this lift off. That's good though. That's good. I like to see it lifting off. We got the L9 16 gigahash unit over here making $22.52 a day. What are you saying, Andrew Masad? What are you saying? Now I'm like worried about my screen. What are you looking at? What are you talking about? Bitmain AL1. We have 15.6 terahash unit over here making $22.31 a day. We got the Ice River AL3. 15 terahash unit making $21.16. I'm gonna scroll down to my L7. My L7 9050 over here is making $9.08 a day. Shout out to Terra Hosting. You guys know I got these things down at Terra Hosting. If you're interested in hosting, links in the description. Some of us are getting a buffer. Getting a buffer, really? You know what? YouTube's been acting funny lately for me on lives as well. With like Max last night, and Hawk and King when they did their live, I had to go like 10 seconds behind, which is weird. So yeah, I don't know. It's like the live can't keep up with how fast. Yeah, just refresh it, see if that works. Strange. Let's see what else we got. Scroll down here a little bit. Where's the? You know what? I want to go to the Doge miner real quick. Let's go to Doge and LTC. I want to look at the little box miners. The Doge 3 Plus, 810 mega hashes at 500 watts, 35 cents a day. Bruh. Dude, I gotta listen. I love Gold Shell for sending me the units and stuff, and I appreciate it very much. It just sucks that they're way too expensive for one, and they're always underperforming. But they sent me an email this morning talking about like they gave us like a 10%. No, it was like a, I don't know, it was some sort of code for something off, probably like 1%, 2%, but they're all still negative. I don't care. It's not even pumping that hard. They're still negative. I'm not gonna, no, you can't even promote that stuff. That's crazy. I don't even understand it. Anyways, I don't know. All right, don't spend your money on miners, people. Just buy the coin right now. It's my opinion. Yeah, it should be 50% off. It absolutely should be. All right, looking at GPUs. Let's see. We have a Leo over here, top mineable GPU coin. We have the Zealous at the 170HX, or on the 170HX. Zealous. Let's see. Zealous. $4. It's up 18.5%. Nice. Let's see. I haven't heard anything about this coin in a while because it just nosedived off a cliff. It's all the way at the bottom, but it's up today. Not too bad. Could be worse. What was the other one? Leo. Leo's down 1% today to $1.51. Been going down the 7 days. It's been going down for a while, but that's the consensus there. How's Chlor doing? Then we're gonna get into the news. 4.49%. Nice. 9 cents. Yeah, all the altcoins been taking a real shit. I can't wait till alt season, man. Alt season needs to happen, but we need Bitcoin to run first, so take the good with the bad. Make sure you guys take profits though. That's the biggest thing I could say. Take profits on this rise. Don't sleep on it. All right, this is very bullish. This is a very bullish setup for Bitcoin into the election, says Vanex Matthew Siegel, or yeah, I think that's how you're supposed to say it. All right, let's get into it, guys. Still like, but appreciate you for hanging out. This is yesterday morning. Let's do it.
The price of Bitcoin climbing over $68,000 this morning, up 100% in the last year. Let's take a look at some of the trends in the crypto markets. Joining us is Matthew Siegel, head of digital assets research at VanEck. There are a variety of things that we've tried to correlate with Bitcoin movements and become less and less successful at anything we can just count on, almost. But it does seem that when Trump started moving up in some of the, we just say Paution, and some of the betting sites, it does seem like this most latest.
Yes, for the record, Bitcoin is at 71,000 right now.
This run from 57 to almost 70 seems to be correlated with the betting odds improving. Is that fair to say in your view, Matthew?
Yeah, I agree with that. Trump is clearly the more pro-crypto and Bitcoin candidate, and VP Harris has not said a single word on it, so one doubts whether she truly understands it. But to your question about the correlations, the most significant long-term correlations for Bitcoin are a negative correlation with the US dollar and a positive correlation with money supply growth, or M2.
Guy clearly wore his shit stomping boots this morning.
Eat shit, Gary.
So clearly on the latter front, money growth has reaccelerated with the Fed pivot. That may be playing part of a role. Also some sellers exhaustion. The German government and the US government sold spitefully $2 billion worth of Bitcoin in the last couple months. That has eased, and I think the election is helping. Polls are helping.
Why did they do that?
If anybody's just joining, Bitcoin's at 71, not 68.
German government seized a couple $2 billion of Bitcoin in a crime and sold it in August because they don't like it.
Because they don't like it. You just said spitefully. I wondered why you had that. Is that an adjective or an adverb? I don't know. It's maybe an adverb. Couldn't a correlation with the money supply explain why it seems to be just totally correlated with risk assets? If there's a lot of liquidity, risk assets seem to go up. Therefore, Bitcoin seems to go up and down. It doesn't seem to be a safe haven with risk assets. It seems to move totally correlated with the NASDAQ or the Magnificent Seven or whatever.
The correlations change over time. Over a 10-year time horizon, the NASDAQ correlation with Bitcoin is a 0.19, quite low. Over the last 3 months, it's a 0.5, and that's a 2.5-year high, and that may be keeping some allocators on the sideline because they want to see it fall. Our bet is that this is a very bullish setup for Bitcoin into the election. We saw the exact same pattern in 2020 where Bitcoin lagged with low volatility, and then once a winner was announced, we had a high vol rally as new buyers come into this market. And that's the great thing about Bitcoin is that every day there's new buyers being born. It's kind of like the video game industry. The olds who hate it die off. The new folks are buying it. And what we think is that once the election result is finalized, Moody's is going to downgrade U.S. sovereign debt, and that could be a catalyst for Bitcoin.
Doesn't gold correlate with the dollar and with M2 as well? And gold and Bitcoin seem like the correlation broke down a couple of times recently.
Bitcoin is a chameleon. Its correlations change over time. It's hard to predict what it's going to be correlated with over the short term, over the long term.
But you really say it's because of the 21 million and it's fixed amount is out there, therefore the debasement of the currency favors that. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it's a non-U.S. asset. It's an emerging markets asset. And while we were all hyperventilating about the election over the last week, BRICS had a conference in Russia. There's 6 new members of BRICS this year. So BRICS GDP is now greater than the combined GDP of G7. Of the 6 new members, 3 of them, Argentina, the UAE, and Ethiopia, are now mining Bitcoin with government resources. So there is tremendous urgency outside of the U.S. to find a way to circumvent the irresponsible fiscal policy that we've been running here in the U.S. In fact, Russia announced an initiative there. Sovereign Wealth Fund is going to invest in a regional initiative to build Bitcoin mining and AI infrastructure throughout BRICS with an idea of settling global trade in Bitcoin. So, look, someday, I don't know if it's 5 years, 10 years, Putin's going to die. We're going to look to reintegrate some of these countries into the world financial system, and they're going to be trading with Bitcoin. What are we going to be doing?
Okay. Yeah. Are you stunned?
No, I'm just processing.
You're processing.
Processing.
When will that be complete?
The processing?
Yes, so that you can make a comment.
When is Bitcoin going to be complete?
You wear an eyeliner? Is that eyeliner?
Bruh. I have no idea. He sounds, what you think it's going to be a $100,000 asset soon, 200.
Yes. The smallest ever trough to peak rally for a Bitcoin cycle was 2,000%. If we do half of that, that'd be 1,000%. That'd be roughly 180,000.
When does this all go down? I mean, not down. When does this happen?
It all happen?
I think after the election will be a significant catalyst. You can see it front page of the Wall Street Journal talking about debt and deficit concerns. Right. Like Moody's is telegraphing this. Right. They want to downgrade sovereigns who have 20.
Like Cathie Woods?
What's that?
Like Cathie Wood.
My old boss?
Yeah. How do you feel about her predictions?
I don't think about them very much.
I mean, do you think she's right? 500,000 is where she's at. by very soon?
We have a model that assumes that by 2050, this is very long term, that Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset that's used in global trade and held by global central banks at a very modest 2% weight. And in that model, we arrive at a $3 million price target for Bitcoin. Now, that sounds, extreme, but that's a 16% compound annual growth rate for a couple decades. That's not really that extreme.
Did you say $3 million Bitcoin?
Stop the cap.
I love Bitcoin, but what this guy's shooting for the moon.
So into the millions over the medium term is a high conviction call.
Jesus Christ. Let's break 100K before we start talking about the millions. What the fuck? All right. High risk market environment for the next 10 days. Again, the election's in 9 or 10 days at this point. It could be a sell the news event, to be honest, when it comes to crypto. So things might pump right up into that. I mean, it happens during halvings and all that stuff. So it could definitely be the case. Let's do it.
Our next guest sees a high-risk market environment for the next 10 days. Stuart Kaiser, Citi's head of equity trading strategy, joins us here on set. Stu, great to have you with us. Obviously, the election is a big part of that. So how are investors positioning themselves?
Yeah, look, I think the last couple of weeks we've definitely seen investors lightening up on some risk kind of going into the election. Not just the election, as we talked about, FOMC payrolls, et cetera. But yeah, I think it's considered a big enough event. I know odds and polling moved in one direction the last couple of weeks, but our view is this is basically a 50-50 event. And for that reason, I think you are seeing people kind of take down risk a bit. If you look at put skew on the S&P has risen, the price of call options on the VIX has risen. So you are seeing people either reducing position or overlaying some hedges with a big event, calendar ahead of us.
The risk is not necessarily who wins or who loses. The risk is not knowing. Is that right?
Yeah, I think the risk is not knowing. And, I think generally speaking, if you talk to investors, they'd like to avoid a sweep scenario. I think, both candidates have some policies that the market doesn't love. And if you get a split government, I think that's where, most people kind of want to end up at this point.
So we had the conversation. Tim thinks yields are going higher because I think it's a combination. But, where do you come down on this higher? I mean, they moved 60 basis points in the 10 years from the low to where we are now. I think they continue to go higher. Market doesn't seem to care right now.
Yeah, the market doesn't care. I'd say it's probably 70% of the move is, I would say, coming from the growth data and maybe an ancillary part from the election. But again, intelligent people have got to disagree on what that is. And that's why markets don't care. I mean, our view on yields for the last couple of years, it's the why that matters. And I think we saw that for 18 months before July, which is if you get strong economic data, positive growth surprise, rate cuts get pushed out, this rolling recession risk gets rolled into the future again, equities are fine in that environment. And I think that's why you're seeing the performance we are.
So it's actually a pretty benign environment, in your view, after 10 days from now.
Yeah, look, if it wasn't for the election, I think you'd look at the payrolls report, the GDP numbers. Inflation, I know, was an upside surprise the last couple months, but frankly, the Fed would tell you we're on a gradually, slowing trend on that side of things. So yeah, I think if it wasn't for the election, you'd probably have risk to put on. If the election resolves itself in a relatively orderly fashion, and that might be a big if, and as Steve said before, but
yeah, right.
I think there's risk to be added, and the macro backdrop is supportive of that. So it's a good setup into year end once we get past the election.
Stuart, let's talk about positioning then. What's fascinating to me is, first of all, that financials have probably one of their largest overweights in a long time, and they're breaking out. But I would go back even just to tech. It seems to me one of your competitors out there saying underweight is the widest levels in 5 years at minus 4.3, driven by a lot of below benchmark positions in semis and hardware. That seems extraordinary to me, and the fact the market's doing what it's doing. So comment either on the positioning, or is this great news for the markets?
I would agree with the sentiment. I'm not sure if they're underweight, but definitely I think the sentiment on tech, or the bar for tech, is lower this quarter than it probably has been in at least a year. We're definitely seeing renewed interest, I think, in the software and internet side of things at the expense of kind of hardware and semis. So the way you describe that data is, I think, how we're feeling flows go through the system. And look, that's a positive. If you remember last quarter, you had NVIDIA put up $30 billion on 75% revenues, and that was 75% margins. That was considered a miss, right? So I do think the bar is set a little lower this time, and I think that's healthy, going into earnings.
We were talking with Steve about probabilities of Fed cuts. Does that, obviously it matters, but does it really matter if it's 25 now, 25 later, pause now, 25, I mean, in the grand scheme of things?
In the grand scheme of things, it might not.
6 months.
In the grand scheme of things, it might not, but next week it definitely will matter. So, look, would the Fed take back 50? I think in their view, they probably wouldn't. Their view, I think, is they are very restrictive to begin with. They are convinced inflation is trending the way they want it to, and I think they want to gradually get themselves back to neutral. And there's no way they're going to admit they made a mistake either way. But yeah, so I think, look, a 25 basis point, cut here or there, I don't think is as big an issue. I think to Steve's point, it's the cumulative number of cuts that are priced in over an extended period of time. But look, the market's expecting 25 next week. Market's probably going to get 25 next week unless something really outlandish happens in the labor market data. And look, this labor market print's tricky. Our economists are only at 90K. You've got strike impact. You've got weather impact. Right. You had a very low response rate to the last payrolls report. So that 254 from last month is going to get maybe not as much attention, but a significant amount of attention as well this time.
So volatility.
Yeah. Definitely.
Interesting. All right, let's see. Bitcoin, 71,452. Jesus. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. All right, moving on. CNBC Crypto World. Tether denies reports of U.S. probe into stablecoin issuer. Let's see what they got to say over here on Crypto World, CNBC Television. Let's do it.
Okay, let's talk about the top stories. Tether is denying that the stablecoin issuer is under investigation for breaking money laundering rules. Now, on Friday, the Wall Street Journal reported that the federal government was investigating possible violations of sanctions and anti-money laundering rules. Now,
real quick, thank you, Mr. Andrew Massad, for the $5 super chat. You're awesome. All bears get the F out. BTC to 500K. Let's go.
Perfect.
Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much.
According to people familiar with the matter. The Journal said federal prosecutors in Manhattan were looking into whether Tether was being used by third parties to fund illegal activities like the drug trade, terrorism, and hacking. And at the same time, the report said the Treasury Department was considering sanctioning Tether for USDT's use by sanctioned individuals and groups. Well, in a blog post that same day, Tether slammed the Wall Street Journal story, calling it, quote, irresponsible. Tether said the allegations were reckless and that the story glosses over Tether's well-documented and extensive dealings with law enforcement to crack down on bad actors. We reached out to the Southern District of New York and the Treasury Department about the story, but haven't heard back yet. Tether is facing increasing competition in the stablecoin space from the likes of Circle's USDC and traditional fintech firms like PayPal with its PYUSD stablecoin, and Stripe, which just acquired stablecoin platform Bridge. We've also seen Tether face concerns in Europe about compliance with the region's crypto regulatory framework MiCA. Coinbase told users in the EU that it would delist USDT and urged customers in the region to move to a compliant stablecoin like USDC. That's because Tether has yet to receive the required e-money license from European regulators. So this latest report from the Wall Street Journal is just the latest sign that Tether could be facing tougher scrutiny from regulators as it also faces growing competition. So for our main story, Crypto World's Jordan Smith spoke to Josh Garcia, partner at compliance and advisory firm Quetzal, about this news and what it could mean for Tether.
What stablecoins do you guys use? Let me know in the chat. Like, what do you use? USDT, USDC? What do you guys use? Let me know.
Right, Josh. So we had this report out from the Wall Street Journal claiming that Tether is, under investigation here in the U.S. potentially, and we had Tether come out and say that it's denying those claims. But we've sort of seen more and more scrutiny of stablecoins and potential regulation around the world as this part of the crypto industry becomes more popular. Just first, what's your reaction to this news and what it means for Tether or stablecoins in general if we are seeing more close scrutiny from the U.S.?
So my view on this is if a $3 billion fine to TD Bank doesn't shut down that whole bank, then an investigation into a global stablecoin is not going to shut down Tether. I think there's a lot of alarmist language around what this actually means. And it means, some of Tether's currency may be involved in money laundering, just like cash, may be involved in terrorist financing. And the DOJ has an obligation to go and find and root out those sources of fraud and money laundering wherever it exists. I'm not surprised that as a global stablecoin grows in popularity, it's going to get the attention of regulators who are concerned about those kinds of issues.
Mr. Shark Farmer in the chat said, I use LTC, screw USDT. Yeah, you know what? I use both. I use USDT as well. But when it comes to sending crypto or anything off exchanges or anywhere, I will send LTC because it goes super fast and it's super cheap.
Yeah, I mean, you lay out two sort of different positions to take there. You've got the actual legal ramifications of this, and that may not have huge impact to Tether, but there is the narrative side of this and how people actually feel about it. And I guess I'm mostly curious about what this means for Tether and the uncertainty going forward for Tether, because it's already faced questions about its business. And you have places like Coinbase pushing European customers to competitors like USDC, saying that it's, Tether's not compliant with MiCA. Does this seem like the best time to face reports like this, or do you think that that will have more of an impact than whatever, fine or legal ramifications they face?
I think it's incredible, and in a good way, that we're holding an entity like Tether to the same standards that we would hold an entity like TD Bank, right? But that's great for the industry.
I don't know if I want to listen to this anymore. This guy's volume is killing me. You guys cool to skip this one?
That we can look at this entity and say, look, you're doing a lot of good things. And there's a lot of
microphones
completely legal things going on, but there's a portion of what you're doing that's not legal. I think that not attributing this one bad element of crypto to the whole of Tether, that is the challenge that we face as an industry, right? You have banks that have the patina of legitimacy just by being chartered by a state or federal agency. No crypto startup is just born from someone's mind with any kind of license attached to their name. So you have so those entities have to fight and claw for legitimacy. And this is what that fighting and clawing looks like, right?
Yeah. All right, we're gonna skip this one. I can't do it anymore. Real quick, let me see. This that 100 million just in case. Right here. Actually, I forgot to like it. I'm not going to play it, but if you guys want to hear anything about the whole tariff idea with Mr. Trump and his plans, I guess this guy's working with Elon Musk and Trump to some fashion. The first hour was about all the political side stuff, but within the first 20 minutes, super important to listen to, at least in my opinion. Maybe first 26 minutes, I guess, 25 minutes. This is a really good listen. If you guys have nothing to listen to, it's 2 hours long. But if you're just like walking around, want something to listen to, go listen to it. It's very good, and it might make you rethink the whole how tariffs are bad type deal. All right, Bitcoin major breakout. Get ready. Let's see what Mr. Lark Davis has got to say over here. If you guys aren't subbed to him, go check him out. Links in the description. Let's do it.
Bitcoin down for a major breakout today. Things are getting very exciting on the charts. We have that to talk about. We're going to be dunking on Ethereum, because why the heck not? Some other altcoin news to talk about as well. It's going to be a good time. Stick around for those good times. Let's get straight into it. The price of Bitcoin. Beautiful. Beautiful. Look at that. Man, just like frame that, put it up on your wall, like look at it, like, yeah, man, that was the moment. That was the moment. Big things started to happen. Look at this weekly chart. So these are weekly charts, by the way, and I just like to draw your attention real quick before we dive into that. This right here. This, as we discussed a few weeks ago, hope you were paying attention.
Mr. Techman Ty, thank you for the $5 super chat. He said Hawk and Max fight before Tyson and Paul boxing match. Let's make it happen. Oh, God. It's too much of an age difference.
Attention. The MACD
Max,
weekly
you know what I mean.
bull cross breakout. Well in effect right now. The last time this happened, we saw Bitcoin run from 29 to 74K, okay? This signals a major trend shift for the asset class, and in my opinion, is something not to be ignored. Okay, there he goes. Let's zoom that down a little bit there. Now, Bitcoin came up today over 70K, baby. Let's go. Let's go. First time we've been over 70K since June. Been a while. Been a while. And of course, as you can see, this is the downtrend line right here. Orange line on the chart. That's our downtrend line. We have broken above it, retested, breaking higher right now. That is very exciting to see. That's the kind of price action we want to see on the chart right now. Currently, we've run up to previous areas of price resistance. We got up to 71,500 or something like that today. Running right here into this previous area of price resistance right here. This yellow box, essentially, providing the zone of price resistance. Flip that, and there's really nothing left until 74K. Crack over 74K. Game on, baby. Number go up technology.
If we break the all-time high, it's going to scream. Where are we at right now? 71,468. Wrong one.
Activated, prices start soaring, media starts paying attention, things start happening a lot quicker than you freaking realize. Okay? Very exciting times in Bitcoin. Now, doesn't mean anything goes up in a straight line. It never does. Okay? Keep that in mind. Obviously, but still very, very exciting to see everything going on right now in the markets. You'll love to see it. It's awesome. Beautiful, beautiful looking charts today. Bitcoin ETF flows $500 million day yesterday. $479 million of positive inflows for Bitcoin ETF products yesterday. Damn, son. Wall Street showing up with the big number buys again. That's crazy.
It's awesome.
A reminder, of course, that Bitcoin miners only produced 450 Bitcoin yesterday. And this is probably 10 to 15x.
Scarcity.
Just pulling a number out of my butt there. 10 to 15x what miners produced in a single day. And that's not accounting for whale purchases or any other stuff going on. Just Bitcoin ETFs, man. Holy cow. Miles here pointing this out. It's very interesting. Bitcoin is on the verge of breaking all-time highs, and yet retail interest is basically completely flatline dead. This is an institutional run at this point. This is the thing. Wall Street's positioning itself. You're paying attention. Good. You're paying attention.
So this is Google Trends. If you guys go to Google Trends, you can search and compare two different items or whatever. You just type in Bitcoin or like crypto or money or whatever, and you can see where it's going to be at. But yeah, that's really low.
You're paying attention. Great. Wall Street's buying like crazy. The retail herd. There's gonna be you're gonna see it. There's gonna be like flipping a switch, right? And there'll be a day when basically all the media everywhere is nonstop talking about.
It'll be like this. Oh, it just completely spikes up.
Bitcoin going crazy. Then the normies start to come back in. Then retail starts to ape back in.
Timmy shows up
when you see the interest
with his pockets full of change, ready to buy.
Time surge massively. That's when we start looking at okay, now we're getting pretty gosh darn late here. But you see this divergence right now where you have price a few percent away from previous highs. Interest. Retail is not paying attention at all to Bitcoin. Maybe there's all meme coins, I guess, but they will pay attention to Bitcoin. They always do. They always do, okay? Real quick shout out to today's sponsor.
Nope. We're not going to sponsor nobody. F that place. Oh, did you guys hear that Robinhood, you can bet on the election? I believe. Trump or Harris, if I'm not mistaken, if anybody's into Robinhood. I think I heard that or read that. That's hysterical.
Check this out, man. Russia's sovereign wealth fund is investing in Bitcoin mining infrastructure throughout BRICS nations with the idea of settling global trade in Bitcoin, according to VanEck's head of digital assets. This is huge. Now, Russia already one of the biggest Bitcoin miners in the world by nation. They've got a lot of untapped, or I guess now tapped, hydro resources and stuff like that in Siberia that they're using for Bitcoin mining. And of course, once they got cut out of the global SWIFT system, once the U.S. decided, hey, we're going to cut Russia out of the global financial system, it was the shot heard around the economic world and the BRICS group and all that stuff. And you can have, of course, a lot of opinions. We're just talking about the financial aspect of it here, okay? It's pretty crazy. Russia's turning towards Bitcoin. You don't have to like Russia to realize that one of the world's biggest economies with one of the world's biggest amount of natural resources turning towards Bitcoin is a significant global event.
Not to mention Putin's got a shit ton of money. Dan R said 34 for Harris and 63 on Trump. So what does that mean? Explain that. Is that like cents? 34 cents, 63 cents? I don't understand that. Sorry.
It's very interesting to see, too, the big change from 2022. We're like, let's ban Bitcoin and mining to like, oh, actually, we're cut out of the international financial system. Maybe we should adopt a Bitcoin strategy. It's crazy. Van Eck also pointing out 3 of the 6 new members of BRICS, the UAE, Argentina, and Ethiopia, are mining Bitcoin with government resources. You heard that. It's crazy. Here's the thing. There's a lot of countries out there that are mining Bitcoin that haven't really revealed how much Bitcoin they own. We know Bhutan, for example, almost got $1 billion. Little tiny Himalayan mountain kingdom, Bhutan. I've always been interested to go there, by the way. Seems like a super fascinating place to go traveling, see the mountains,
terrible.
The yaks. Love yaks, man. What a great name for an animal. Yak. Whoever thought of that, genius, by the way. Anyway.
What's wrong with him?
Those guys
are squirreled on us.
$1 billion worth of Bitcoin with their hydro resources. Genius. Whoever got them onto that, genius. Love it. Other countries are paying attention. UAE, mining Bitcoin. We know that Oman, not a BRICS member, Oman's mining Bitcoin. Qatar, we don't know if they're mining Bitcoin, but there's been a lot of rumor and speculation that their sovereign wealth fund has been buying Bitcoin for at least a year now. Big.
Okay, real quick. So it's called the Poly Market. Thank you, Crypto KJ, by the way. 33.7% for Harris and 66.3% for Trump. Chances by yes. Oh, so this is cents? Wait, hold on. What did Dan say in the chat? Hold on, let me read that. He said 34 cents per contract for Harris and 63 cents contract per Trump. Interesting. Weird. It's weird. We're betting market, dude. I can't. This shit. It's weird. That's legal to do. To be honest,
things are happening. Okay. There's a global race on right now, and everyone's kind of trying to keep it quiet because you don't want to make too much noise about it because that just brings in more competition, makes it harder for you to mine the Bitcoin, right? But it's happening, guys. It is happening.
I'm going to put Anthony Pompliano's video in the chat as well. I forgot to do that.
Van Eck also predicting Bitcoin will become a global reserve asset worth $3 million, and central banks make a 2% allocation by 2050. Now, Van Eck, of course, they're talking their bags. They've got, obviously, a vested interest in seeing Bitcoin do well, as we do all, right? But if they're right, and Bitcoin goes to $3 million by 2050, 16% compounding returns for the next 26 years. You're going to bet against that. Good luck. Good luck. Okay, now let's dunk on Ethereum.
Techman just said, I saw a post that Canadians are coming into the country and voting in the states that require no ID. There's states that require no ID to vote? Really? Strange.
This is going to be fun. My second biggest bag, of course, currently, have been going through the thought process of it's really, if I should just sell that, man. I don't know. Anyway, we'll get back to that later. But if you want to see my portfolio.
Also, Canadians, get the fuck out of here. All right? Don't ruin the election.
Full disclosures, as always, you can see those down below in the YouTube description. Pin comment over on X. You see my current holdings, my OTC investments, my private round deals, all that kind of stuff. It's all there for you, okay? You also find a risk disclosure because investing in crypto is risky. You can lose all of your money. No, seriously, you have to do your own research. Never invest more than you can afford to lose, and past performance does not equate to future performance. Never forget it, okay? Serious, guys. Serious stuff. Okay. Now let's dunk on ETH. Bitcoin ETFs took in $479 million today. Ethereum ETFs, $1 million outflow. Oh, wow. Bitcoin, 4% away from new all-time highs. ETH, 86% away. What? ETH remains king of the most cucked asset in crypto right now. This meme, hilarious. Know the work rules. Bitcoin 2K away from all-time high. Oh, you're so sweet. ETH 2K away from all-time high. Hello, you having resources? That's hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Of course, here's the charts for Ethereum. We are, hey, let's just give a little bit of recognition here. We are nearing a MACD bull cross here for ETH. Look at that. Probably another couple weeks away, but it is coming. At some point, this $2,800 ceiling will be broken for Ethereum, and Ethereum will rally. I mean, guys, obviously, at some point, ETH is going to rally. It won't remain, in mega cuck land forever. At some point, something will happen with Ethereum. Coin Mamba here is saying, once Ethereum reaches $3,000, its marketing problem will be solved. Above $4,000, roll-up centric will be the best model for blockchains. Above $5,000, it once again becomes the future of finance. It's true. One of the best gauges for sentiment is the price of an asset. People love Solana right now because the price keeps going up. People don't like ETH right now because the price has been crap. When the price of ETH starts going up, people are going to love it again. Oh, ETH, yeah, I always knew it's the best asset in the world, blah, blah, blah. Man, show me the money. Just like Jeremy, show me the money. Great Tom Cruise.
He's not wrong.
Of course, but
he's not wrong.
I'm more of a fan of his Mission Impossible stuff. That dude's a beast. Anyway, Elon trades here. Aerodrome. My Aerodrome bags. Oh, man. Love my Aerodrome bags. Love my Aerodrome liquidity provider rewards. Man, when I sell these things for like $5 to $10 later on, it's going to be so good.
Nope. He's just going to shill some bullshit that he has in his bags. All right, we're going to move on. Altcoin Daily. Why Bitcoin price hits 200K before 2025. Wait, what? Oh, in 2025. That's it before. I was like, wait, what? That's not happening. All right. I don't know if it's going to hit 200K in 2025. Nobody knows. This guy definitely doesn't know. But it sounds good, so we'll watch it.
You think it's going to be a $100,000 asset soon? 200.
Yes.
VanEck's head of digital research, Matthew Siegel, just revealed Bitcoin's next 12 months. With $107.7 billion in assets under management, you have to believe that when VanEck's head of digital research says this about Bitcoin, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of capital is listening.
Our bet is that this is a very bullish setup for Bitcoin into the election. We saw the exact same pattern in 2020 where Bitcoin lagged with low volatility, and then once a winner was announced, we had a high vol rally as new buyers come into this market. And that's the great thing about Bitcoin, is that every day there's new buyers being born. It's kind of like the video game industry. The olds who hate it die off, the new folks are buying it. And what we think is that once the election result is finalized, Moody's is going to downgrade U.S. sovereign debt, and that could be a catalyst for Bitcoin to catch up.
Doesn't gold correlate with the dollar and with M2 as well? And gold and Bitcoin seemed like the correlation broke down a couple of times recently.
Bitcoin is a chameleon. Its correlations change over time. It's hard to predict what it's going to be correlated with over the short term, over the long term.
But you really say it's because of the 21 million and fixed amount is out there, therefore the debasement of the currency favors that. I mean, that's...
Yeah, it's
some people call that fairy dust.
It's a non-U.S. asset. It's an emerging markets asset. And while we were all hyperventilating about the election over the last week, BRICS had a conference in Russia. There's 6 new members of BRICS this year. So BRICS GDP is now greater than the combined GDP of G7. Of the 6 new members, 3 of them, Argentina, the UAE, and Ethiopia, are now mining Bitcoin with government resources. So there is tremendous urgency outside of the U.S. to find a way to circumvent the irresponsible fiscal policy that we've been running here in the U.S. In fact, Russia announced an initiative. Their sovereign wealth fund is going to invest in a regional initiative to build Bitcoin mining and AI infrastructure throughout BRICS with an idea of settling global trade in Bitcoin. So look, someday, I don't know if it's 5 years, 10 years, Putin's going to die. We're going to look to reintegrate some of these countries into the world financial system, and they're going to be trading with Bitcoin. What are we going to be doing?
Okay. What? Yeah. Are you stunned?
No, I'm just processing.
You're processing?
Processing.
When will that be complete?
The processing?
Yes, so that you can make a comment.
When is
I love when Joe trolls him. It's so funny.
when is Bitcoin going to be complete?
I have no idea. He sounds, what you think it's going to be a $100,000 asset soon, 200.
Yes. The smallest ever trough to peak rally for a Bitcoin cycle was 2,000%. If we do half of that, that'd be 1,000%. That'd be roughly 180,000.
When does this all go down? I mean, not down. When does this happen?
I think after the election will be a significant catalyst. You can see it front page of the Wall Street Journal talking about debt and deficit concerns.
Right.
Like Moody's is telegraphing this.
Right.
They want to downgrade sovereigns who have 20.
Like Kathy Woods.
What's that?
Like Kathy Wood.
My old boss?
Yeah. How do you feel about her predictions?
I don't think about them very much.
I mean, do you think she's right? 500,000 is where she's at. By very soon.
We have a model that assumes that by 2050, this is very long term, that Bitcoin...
That's not very soon. She said like 5 years, I believe, 2030.
Becomes a reserve asset that's used in global trade and held by global central banks at a very modest 2% weight. And in that model, we arrive at a $3 million price target for Bitcoin. Now, that sounds, extreme, but that's a 16% compound annual growth rate for a couple decades. That's not really that extreme. So into the millions over the medium term is a high conviction call.
And by the way, although VanEck is bullish, no matter who gets elected, they are pricing in a Trump victory. They say that would be better for crypto, according to VanEck. But Don't get it twisted. Trump actually isn't the biggest indicator of Bitcoin's success by any means. Matthew Siegel says Bitcoin's price is most correlated to this.
Yeah, I agree with that. Trump is clearly the more pro-crypto and Bitcoin candidate, and VP Harris has not said a single word on it, so one doubts whether she truly understands it. But to your question about the correlations, the most significant long-term correlations for Bitcoin are a negative correlation with the US dollar and a positive correlation with money supply growth, or M2. So clearly on the latter front, money growth has reaccelerated with the Fed pivot. That may be playing part of a role. Also some sellers exhaustion. The German government and the US government sold spitefully $2 billion worth of Bitcoin in the last couple months. That has eased, and I think the election is helping. Polls are helping.
Why did they do that?
German government seized a couple $2 billion of Bitcoin in a crime and sold it in August because they don't like it.
Because they don't like it. You just said spitefully. I wondered why you had that. Is that an adjective or an adverb? I don't know. It's maybe an adverb. Couldn't a correlation with the money supply explain why it seems to be just totally correlated with risk assets? If there's a lot of liquidity, risk assets seem to go up. Therefore, Bitcoin seems to go up and down. It doesn't seem to be a safe haven with risk assets. It seems to move totally correlated with, the NASDAQ or the Magnificent Seven or whatever.
The correlations change over time. Over a 10-year time horizon, the NASDAQ correlation with Bitcoin is a 0.19, quite low. Over the last 3 months, it's a 0.5, and that's a 2.5-year high, and that may be keeping some allocators on the sideline because they want to see it fall.
So many people are missing Wall Street getting in on this asset class. So many people have blinders on to what Bitcoin is about to do. Smash the like button, support the channel. We're witnessing all this happen in front of us, and we show you this on a daily basis. This is why you subscribe to Altcoin Daily. I just hope that you watched this interview that we published the other day. In this 2-minute clip that I'm about to play you, Wall Street insider James Heckman perfectly explains how Wall Street...
This interview is actually pretty good.
...is going to pump crypto higher than you can imagine. These are the signs. See you tomorrow, my friends.
BlackRock in the last 3 days, just the last 3 days, has accumulated over $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in their ETF. You said earlier in this conversation that BlackRock doesn't buy an asset like this unless they expect a 20x. Bitcoin's around $60,000 today. Are you saying 20x from there?
I think there's no question that this is the beginning, the formative stages of the BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard banking dynasty's position on Bitcoin. Like they don't show up for the end. They don't miss things. Oh God, I wish we would have got in, right? When they feel like they have an opportunity to have a monopoly, like Monsanto, like Pfizer, Moderna, like the media industry, like Google, they move in, they take a massive position. And what people don't realize is that, BlackRock's not BlackRock. BlackRock is State Street, BlackRock is Vanguard, BlackRock is JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs. Just look at the capitalization table. They're all one, and they're all coordinated. And, it's an amazing signal to see them move in unison. They're not all moving independently, right? You see every single bank last fall, Bank of Israel, Bank of England, B of A, Goldman, JP Morgan, all in the same day started accumulating last year. When there was a negative announcement from when there was a negative announcement, CZ's gone to prison, something like that, they would accumulate on the other end, right? Because they know over the long run that Bitcoin is not going to be regulated into obscurity, and so I think this year is the beginning. So the question is, what happens, over the next couple of years? Think about the multi-trillion-dollar market caps of Apple and Amazon and Google. So Bitcoin is going to have its version of a multi-trillion-dollar market cap.
If Bitcoin does a 20x, that's around a $12 million Bitcoin per coin. Let's just say, it does a 9x. That's around $500,000 per coin in the long run. That's similar to what Cathie Wood thinks, similar to what Michael Saylor thinks. That's in line with your view?
It's impossible to not happen. It's impossible to not happen. If you've got BlackRock accumulating fast, they're not going to exit until they get a significant return. They control. When I say BlackRock, it's a metaphor for their whole consortium.
Interesting. All right. Time for the recap segment of things. Sorry, guys. I got to get out of here. Daddy duty calls. But Bitcoin, anybody just joining, $71,447. Ethereum at $26.32. Over here, Solana, $180. Got Sui up real big on the day. About 16% to $1.97. Dogecoin's been killing it, over 16.5 cents. Oh yeah, Caspa has been taking a shit. 11.6 over here, down 3% today. We got Litecoin up to $72, 72.5 to be exact. We got ETC at 19.29. Look at that. Near Protocol is doing well as well. 5.58% up on the day to $4.48. Aptos to $9.87, up almost 10%, a little over 9.5 to be exact. Uniswap $7.90, up 5.17%. The meme coins are doing really well. Shiba's up 10%. Damn. Pepe is up 8%. Loki is up almost 10%, a little over 9.5. BitTensor over here up $551, up 6.46%. Looks pretty good. Everything looks really good. Anything changed on crypto bubbles? Not really. Dogwoof Hat is up 9.3% as well. Crazy. Flashbang Fear and Greed Index at a 72. I'm sure we're going to see this climb around 75 tomorrow. We're going to have to see, but Bitcoin's been killing it, guys. And hopefully you guys all have a fantastic day. I have to get out of here, unfortunately. Again, daddy duty calls. You guys know the drill. Gonna get these kids to school. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Appreciate you for hanging out. Real quick, the Mining King says Caspa's going down. No new miners in sight. Yeah, I mean, new miners, who knows? But Caspa will be fine. I have no doubt in my mind Caspa will be fine. Sloth Squash, next time the kid falls in a hole, make sure you record it before you save him. Honestly, that was hysterical. So if you guys don't know what he's talking about, I was digging the posts for my solar panels out of the ground, or I actually had to dig them up and then pull them up. My kid was playing in one of the holes and he fell in head first. He dropped his toy, he went to reach it and just ate it. It's like, I see his feet sticking out like this and he's screaming. I had to run over and pull him out of the hole. I couldn't record it. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I had to take him out immediately. But anyways, all right, guys, that's it. Have a good day. I'll see you guys bright and early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Peace out.